Okay, so hey guys, I am super excited. My microphone finally came today. I also have my intro music, so I am getting things in order so that I can better serve you guys in the area of leadership so that you guys can hear me as loud as you can, so that you guys can engage in with me. I'm just super excited about being intentional. Yeah. Yesterday I talked about being intentional as a leader, and I pray that you guys really enjoyed that particular podcast. But today, let me tell you guys what we're going to talk about today. I know the capture said that you must see yourself in order to value yourself. Leaders have to see themselves in order to value themselves, in order to grow themselves. We are on the law of the mirror. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Listen, we are always judging other people, and I'm telling you, it is so easy to judge everyone else. Why? Because we're not looking in the mirror. Leaders, make sure that you are looking in the mirror as often as you can. It's like waking up in the morning and cleaning your face, and when you clean your face and you brush your teeth, what do? You look in the mirror. Why? Because you want to make sure your hair is okay. You want to make sure your makeup is okay. You want to make sure your beard is okay. You want to make sure that everything is intact. Everything is looking right. Because when you step outside of that door, you represent something. Okay? That's what leaders do. We create a standard and we represent something. So because we create a standard and we represent something, we look in the mirror before we do anything. Okay? So I am excited. I'm excited to talk about the law of the mirror with you guys, to help you guys understand the importance of seeing yourself so that you can add value in yourself. It's kind of like the law of awareness. That's the question I think I will pose to you guys. The law of awareness. Do you know yourself? We talked about that on yesterday. We're being intentional about just knowing who you are. And so when you know who you are and you value who you are, when you look in the mirror, you value yourself. And leaders, let me say this, because leaders lead people, because leaders have followers. You're not a leader unless you have followers, okay? And because leaders are leaders lead followers, they have people that are looking up to them. It's very important that they look in the mirror as much as possible, because people are going to mimic you. People are going to be like you. People's behavior is going to be shaped the way your behavior is going to be shaped. Why? Because we are a society of mentorship. What do I mean by that? I mean, everybody looks for something from somebody else when it comes to mentorship to see, how am I supposed to act? Okay? So, branding. When you think about branding, that's all branding is. People look for an image consultant because they have a brand. But when you constantly look in the mirror at yourself and you get to know yourself and you love yourself and you grow yourself and you begin to value yourself, you don't have to create a brand that represent who you claim to be, because you've become who you supposed to become, and that's automatically gonna show on the outside. A person doesn't, y'all know how we have this false representative of, come on now, let's just take a moment and pause. Now we've paused. We have paused. There are many people that have up a representative, guys. Okay? They have up a representative. Everybody want to be nice and sweet on that first date, but hey, know yourself, grow yourself, learn yourself, develop yourself. Be teachable. Leaders are teachable. Leaders develop themselves on a consistent basis. Okay? Let me tell you something. This is just a very important thing that I want you guys to really take in today, and that's this. How you view yourself will determine your behavior. If you don't think you're nothing, you're going to act like you're nothing. If you don't value you, then why would you expect other people to value you? You will never, ever, ever, ever outperform your self-image. You will never do that. So leaders, if you want to be a better performer, if you want to be great in what you're doing, you have to know more about you. You have to know more about your strength, your weaknesses. One of the things that I believe that leaders have to embrace is the SWOT analysis. Now, listen, those of you guys out there that, those of you guys out there who have been in business, you guys know what the SWOT analysis is. However, the SWOT analysis is something that I use and I teach in the area of leadership on, because the SWOT analysis is like your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and the threats. Okay, so now you have a lot of strengths, which are great, but do you know that there are weaknesses that you have, and some of those potential weaknesses can be a potential threat to some of the doors of opportunities that you want open? Listen, you don't want that. You want to check those weaknesses. You want to find out which weaknesses that you can eliminate, that you can destroy, that you can get rid of. And the only way to do that is to know yourself. And the only way to know yourself is to take time out every day to look in the mirror at yourself. Look in the mirror at the way that you look, the way that you carry yourself. Look in the mirror. Check it yourself. You know that saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Listen, you have to check yourself before anybody else check you. You don't want nobody else to check you. Okay? So listen, the value that we put on ourselves is usually the value that others put upon us. So if you don't value you, that's how people are going to treat you. People are going to treat you like you're nothing. So now, let me give you a few tips that you can do to kind of help you in your self-esteem when you're looking in the mirror and you see some of those weaknesses. Now, throughout the duration of me doing my podcast, let me tell you something. I am going to talk about character defects, and I'm going to talk about the different categories that our flaws fall under. Okay, our flaws fall under different categories. You got minor, you got major, and you got tragic. Y'all remember on Martin when Gina and Martin was doing the play, and Martin didn't want to be in the play, and the guy was like, it was a tragedy. And Martin was like, what do you mean a tragedy? And he started talking about, I think the guy was from Cooley High. I probably got it wrong, but hey, you guys get the picture. You guys know where I'm going. But at any rate, I'm going to give you guys a few tips. And throughout the podcast, maybe one day I'm going to do the teaching on the minor flaws, the major flaws, and the tragic flaws. The tragic flaws are really the ones you got to watch out for, because they would definitely hinder your movement. They would definitely be potential threats. Will be threats to potential doors of opportunity. You want them doors of opportunities open, and so you have to know which one of the flaws fall up under the tragic, which means you have to get rid of it. One of the things that I think that is tragic to me is when leaders are always late. If you are always late, guys, that is tragic. Always late. Now you could be late every once in a while. And I'm not saying you can be, as if you can just take that as an opportunity to be late. What I'm saying is you're not going to be penalized. You won't be penalized. You stuck in traffic or something came up, because things will come up. But when you have a habit of being late, then it says something about your character. It says that you have some flaws within your character. That's what it says. It means that you do not prioritize the things in your life that are important, or maybe your role as a leader to you isn't that important. That's what you have to think about. Listen, let me say this. If your role as a leader is important to you, then you will prioritize your position as a leader, meaning if you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, you'll be there. So I'm going to give you a few tips and then I'm going to get off here. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to build up your self-esteem as a leader. Okay, guys, that is so important. Build up your self-esteem. Building up your self-esteem is so important as a leader because sometimes when we look in the mirror, we don't see the best version of ourselves. We feel like we haven't made it to the place or to the destination that we desire to be in within ourselves. And so there are going to be some rough times, even as a leader. Because let me say this. It is so difficult sometimes leading, and the people that you're leading is just jumping through hoops and you still feel like you're stuck. What do? I want you guys to pause. Let's pause. Okay, that's enough. I wanted you guys to pause and really just think about that as a leader. As a leader, one of the things I think about that Jesus said was, greater works will you do. Elisha asked Elijah for a double portion. And so as leaders, it's okay for us to mentor people and lead people, and they become greater and do greater work than what we have the capacity to do. But I'm telling you right now, as a leader, it's hard sometimes. I want to be real. I want to be transparent. I want to be very candid with you guys. It is hard sometimes as a leader when you are pouring into people, and as you're leading them, you're guiding them, you're giving them direction, you're pushing them, you're helping them. You have a certain measure of fulfillment within you, but at the end of the day, you look up and they've made it to different heights you have yet to reach. Sometimes that's hard because you begin to feel like as a leader, I should be going above them because no one wants to follow a leader that's beneath them. But I want to challenge you guys in that particular thinking, because think about the president. Think about when, what's the president name? You know, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. Barack Obama. So, Barack Obama or even Donald Trump, both of the presidents, you know, their English teacher never became president. Being president is a great accomplishment. It's a great role. It's a very responsible role. It says a lot about you when you are in a position where you can lead people to that capacity. And so their English teacher, their reading teacher, their math teacher, their social studies teacher, their science teacher, they didn't have the capacity to lead thousands of people like they were called to do. So what am I saying? What I am saying is, whatever your measure is, whatever your capacity is, find it and be comfortable in it. Maybe you're called to lead 5 people. Maybe you are called to lead 10 people. Maybe you are called to lead 5,000 people. But nevertheless, if you are that leader that is called to lead 5 people, you cannot get so upset that one of the 5 is called to lead 5,000. You cannot get upset with that. However, it's very challenging. So each and every day, a leader has to focus on building their self-esteem, because sometimes you're gonna feel low. You're gonna feel like you're at your lowest. And so, as a leader, how do you get back to that height, the highest place within your mindset? How do you get back to that place? You get back to that place by building your self-esteem, by telling yourself that you are more than a conqueror. You build yourself back up. You have to build yourself back up. So you have to build your self-esteem up. One of the things in building your self-esteem, one of the things that's so important is that you have to guard your self-talk. What do I mean by guard your self-talk? Whatever you say to you, whatever you purpose in your heart to remind yourself of, sometimes you have to guard it. As a leader, sometimes you cannot tell everybody. My goodness. You cannot tell everybody what you're doing. As a leader, sometimes you have to guard your self-talk. And remember, I'm not talking about leader as it relates to position. I'm talking about leader as it relates to the person, okay? Remember, you are a leader. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. You were born